Hello, Professor and fellow classmates. This is part two of my presentation on sex trafficking. Moving on to slide 7. This is the current services that are available. There's many services out there for human trafficking. I picked two that I thought were very known and had very good outcomes and services attached. These current programs have been in existence and are reputable and provide the resources needed to help and support the victims of sex trafficking. This is CAS, the Coalition to Abolish Slavery and Trafficking. All this information is there. It is in Los Angeles, California. They have all the information needed along with a Facebook page if someone is in need of help that has been abused or sex trafficked. This one is a more common one that we know, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. This one we know from John Walsh on America's Most Wanted, who has found many missing kids, and many of the children that are runaways end up in being sex trafficked. Moving on to slide 8, this is local services in my area. I was originally going to do my internship with Elijah's Rising, which is a sex trafficking facility, which helps girls ages 9 to 19. Unfortunately, they didn't have someone who possessed an MSW, but this is where my interest actually was when I was going into my second internship. This program provides prayer, awareness, intervention, and restoration, and all of these are in their mission statement. It's a very good program. They have a lot of volunteering opportunities to help these girls, and many programs that help victims of trauma. Next is the Texas Rise to the Challenge. This is part of the T, which is the Texas Education Agency. This is another great program that is developed by the Texas Human Trafficking Prevention Task Force. It provides training for professionals to RISE. RISE is the acronym for recognizing risk factors and indicators related to human trafficking. The I standing for identify potential human trafficking victims and report as legally required, mandating reporting again. The S stands for share knowledge with colleagues, parents, and community leaders. This is great for getting help and learning and teaching and learning from one another, along with supporting one another. Self-care, which is very important when working in our field. Engage in local prevention efforts, and prevention is always better than having to experience trauma. Next, I'm going to touch on the micro, meso, and macro levels. This is a pic that I found that was very interesting. 80% of domestic human trafficking victims were once in the foster care system. Again, it all goes back to prevention, and we as helping professionals getting out there and helping families before they end up in child welfare, before they end up in on the streets homeless or being sex trafficked, prostitution, along with addictions and things of that sort. It all goes back to prevention. Assessment. So in this case, a girl comes into my office and I have information that she has been trafficked. My first thing is with looking at her is assessing my client. I would initially communicate and pose the question, is she physically okay? Does she need medical attention? Is she hurt in any way? Next, I would want to ensure her that she's in a safe environment. If in fact children are fearful or scared, they're not going to open up, and there's no way we're going to be able to bond with someone who is fearful for their life. Letting her know why I am there. I will ask if she needs anything before moving on, such as something comforting like a blanket or something to drink, pillow, um, anything that's going to create an environment where she feels comfortable, relaxed. Um, and then I will attempt to, to question her and see what experiences she's had. Does she want me to call anyone? Is there anyone in her life that, um, you know, was was there for her and she misses, and things of that sort too. Even you know, a familiar voice, anything to help make her feel safe. Next, in my intervention, domestic minor sex trafficking is hard for social workers to identify. Again, I think I mentioned that earlier, where most of these girls are very fearful to open up and to say anything, fearful of their pimp or their John, and fearful of the law, of law enforcement, going to jail, fearful of going back home in some instances. Where they are may not be treated well, but they that has become their family. So they fear being alone. I would attempt first to develop a trusting therapeutic relationship. As I mentioned earlier, I would incorporate motivational interviewing, maybe in some instances, solution-focused therapy. Of course, trauma-informed care, any type of cognitive behavioral therapy, TF, CBT, probably would work in some instances. Ask them questions like, when were you not fearful? When were you in a good place? When did you lay your head down on the pillow where you felt safe? When was there a time that you did not go to bed hungry, if that was the case? Things like, what did that feel like when you felt secure and happy and safe? How can we prevent you from going back into the same situation? How do you feel about working on spirituality, meditation, imagery for relaxation? Would you be opposed to networking with other girls who have been hurt and are working towards recovery? Maybe group therapy that can direct and guide you towards healing. Would they be opposed to working with a mentor who maybe has been through the same sort of experiences, or works with girls that have been sex trafficked and has the type of experience that one needs in order to coach these girls and make different services available to them? So moving on to the meso level, this assessment is working with the client's family or within the community with my client. I, meaning the social worker, am my client's liaison and advocate if they need to be outsourced or outside services, working on preventing further trauma, interventions, recovery. Reunification with the family could be an intervention if in fact it is in the best interest of my client. Promote and guide client in participating and completing mentorship programs, helping clients stay on track with group therapy, mentorship, promote community-based programs and services that can help my client, like Big Brothers and Big Sister organizations are great. When I was a court reporter in New Orleans, often we dealt with Big Brothers and Big Sisters. Also, midnight basketball is great. Keeping juveniles out of juvenile court and on the basketball court. That is great interventions for young people. And lastly, what I would need to do is conference with all department heads to ensure that my client is achieving goals, staying on track, making those strides towards recovery and healing. Next is the macro level perspective, and this is very interesting. Macro level factors associated with trafficking include economical injustice, poverty, war, and natural disasters, globalization of the consumer market, lesser respect for females, unattached men in construction operations and military installations in developing countries, and global sex tourism. Human trafficking is not just a issue in the US. It is a global issue, and it is a pandemic. It has become a pandemic. On a broader level, we as social workers need more access and training in dealing with this global crisis. We cannot promote change if we are not where we need to be. In other words, if we are not being put in these areas and learning about this particular problem, then we're not getting better at it. In the article on Roby, he proposed more BSWs and MSW students need to be placed in agencies dealing with trafficking issues. There are more and more issues that are surfacing in our society that deal with globalized world sex trafficking, and I fear that we may be falling behind in these areas. Next, number 12. This is something that I put together in 10 top states for trafficking. This is also the 10 top countries and cities. If you look at states and cities in the United States, you'll see a lot of them, like Nevada, Las Vegas, where there's gambling. You'll see New Mexico, Louisiana, New Orleans is a hub for sex traffickers. Again, Hawaii, tourism, a lot of these areas. Organized crime is there, and it impacts the young. Next, conclusion. The root cause of sex trafficking is the trafficker himself. We tend to blame everyone but the trafficker. Of course, we do need to go back to the basics, which is helping the family instead of being biased against families and removing children from the home, if in fact we can work with the family in order to keep the family unified. Again, the trafficker is the perpetrator, is the criminal, the rapist. When watching the video this week, I was intrigued how they are referred to as Johns, pimps, model agents, talent scouts, and boyfriends. These are just words, I guess, to make them feel like they're doing something great in society. These individuals strip women and young girls of their basic human rights, and we should refer to them as rapists, criminals, pedophiles, and manipulators. Going forward, the only way we will deter these criminals is by continuing to fight against this $33 billion sex industry. We must join with law enforcement, lawmakers, community activists, advocates, doctors, social workers, families, and victims to combat this growing injustice of our future generations. Thank you everyone for your time, and I do look forward to getting feedback from everyone, and thank you very much.